Most families stockpile supplies to feel safe, but some of the products sitting in your cabinets right now could become deadly in a crisis. That lavender spray you use to freshen the air, in a sealed room, it can create chemical levels that would shut down a factory. Candles meant for blackouts? They've started more house fires during disasters than the storms themselves. When shelves empty and power grids fail, survival isn't just about what you store. It's about what you avoid. Today we'll uncover 7 everyday items that quietly turn into hazards, and 2 cheap, overlooked essentials that can keep your family safe when everything else fails. And wait until you see number 2. It's something I guarantee you already own. Number 7. Air fresheners and aerosol sprays. Elena Rodriguez sprays lavender air freshener as wildfire smoke seeps through her Sacramento windows. The scent masks the burning smell, making her 2 young children feel calmer. She doesn't realize she's just filled her sealed home with formaldehyde at levels that would shut down a chemical plant. When crisis forces you to seal your house, air fresheners become atmospheric poison. That lavender spray contains formaldehyde, a known carcinogen that concentrates in unventilated spaces. Environmental Working Group testing found 93% of air fresheners emit formaldehyde at levels that cause respiratory damage and cancer risk when exposure becomes chronic. The real killer hiding in that aerosol can is phenol, a nerve agent that disables your nose's ability to detect danger. Every spray coats your nasal passages with an oil film that prevents you from smelling gas leaks, smoke infiltration, carbon monoxide, or chemical spills. Emergency responders call this scent blindness, and it kills families who can't detect life-threatening gases. When you're trapped indoors during emergencies, volatile organic compounds from air fresheners accumulate to industrial exposure levels. These chemicals, benzene, toluene, and xylene, cause headaches and dizziness, but prolonged exposure triggers liver damage and respiratory failure. Children face the highest risk because they breathe faster and their developing nervous systems absorb chemicals more readily. A single spray session in a sealed room exposes kids to concentrations that would require hazmat suits in industrial settings. Professional emergency teams banned air fresheners from disaster operations after discovering that artificial scents interfere with gas detection equipment and human safety instincts. Military bunkers never use commercial fragrances because commanders understand that when escape routes disappear, every chemical becomes a weapon. Families should eliminate the chemical trap entirely. Essential oils without synthetic carriers provide natural scents without compromising air quality. Most importantly, your nose remains your early warning system for detecting real dangers. Number 6. Antibacterial cleaners and disinfectants. Dr. Sarah Kim stocks her basement with industrial-strength antibacterial cleaners as a pandemic fears grip her Chicago neighborhood. Bleach, disinfectant wipes, antimicrobial sprays, enough to sanitize her home for months. She believes stronger chemicals mean better protection. Instead, she's breeding antibiotic-resistant bacteria that could kill her family when medical help disappears. Antibacterial products seem like crisis insurance, but they're actually biological warfare against your own immune system. 90% of antimicrobial cleaners contain triclosan, a chemical that doesn't kill all bacteria. It performs bacterial natural selection, eliminating weak microbes while strengthening dangerous ones. Here's the mechanism that makes antibacterial cleaners crisis killers. Triclosan creates bacterial resistance while simultaneously poisoning your family. The Environmental Protection Agency confirms that triclosan disrupts thyroid function, damages liver metabolism, and weakens immune response. During extended crisis periods, when stress already compromises your body's defenses, triclosan delivers the fatal blow. The real danger emerges when desperate families start mixing chemicals in sealed spaces. Triclosan combined with bleach creates chlorinated toxins that burn lung tissue. Mixed with ammonia-based products, it generates chemical warfare agents. The resistance problem compounds during crisis when medical care vanishes. Children exposed to triclosan show increased rates of allergies, asthma, and compromised immune function. The hygiene hypothesis explains why. Sterile environments prevent immune systems from developing properly. Recent studies reveal triclosan's most sinister effect: it makes vaccines less effective. Children with high triclosan exposure show 43% reduced vaccine response. During health emergencies, when vaccination becomes critical protection, previous antibacterial exposure sabotages your body's ability to develop immunity. Professional emergency responders abandoned antibacterial cleaners years ago after discovering they create more problems than they solve. Medical teams rely on soap and water, which physically removes 99% of contaminants without triggering resistance. Here's the bottom line. During crisis, your immune system is your last line of defense. Don't destroy it with chemicals that promise protection, but deliver vulnerability. Number 5. Emergency candles and fuel-based lanterns. Robert Chen loads his basement with emergency candles and kerosene lanterns as power grid warnings blast across Texas. 72 candles, 8 lanterns. Enough fuel for a month of blackouts. He's following every preparedness guide he's read. He's actually creating a death trap that will incinerate his family faster than any natural disaster. Emergency lighting feels like survival basics, but fire-based illumination kills more people during crises than the emergencies themselves. Hurricane Sandy data revealed that emergency candles caused more house fires than electrical damage from the storm. When fire departments face blocked roads and overwhelming call volumes, lighting fires become family execution chambers. Crisis stress destroys fire safety judgments. Families place candles near flammable emergency supplies, leave open flames unattended while managing multiple threats, or use unstable surfaces that tip over in darkness. Emergency room data shows burn injuries spike 300% during power outages. Kerosene lanterns add invisible murder to visible fire risk. Burning fuel produces carbon monoxide, a colorless, odorless killer that accumulates in sealed houses. During winter storms, when families close windows against cold, carbon monoxide concentrations climb to lethal levels. The symptoms mimic stress responses, making poisoning impossible to detect until unconsciousness begins. Each candle flame consumes oxygen while producing carbon dioxide and toxic fumes. Multiple flames burning in confined spaces reduce oxygen below safe breathing levels. During Hurricane Katrina, emergency responders found families unconscious from oxygen depletion caused by burning too many emergency candles in sealed rooms. Thermal burns deliver the quickest deaths. Emergency flames burn at temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. When crisis forces families into crowded spaces, accidental contact with flames causes severe injuries that become fatal when medical care is unavailable. Professional disaster response teams eliminated open flames after discovering they create more casualties than they prevent. Federal Emergency Management Agency shelters ban all combustion-based lighting because fire risk outweighs illumination benefits. Here's what fire safety experts learned. Emergency lighting should never create emergencies. If this has opened your eyes so far, wait until you see what's coming up next. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. Number 4. Canned foods with BPA linings. Maria Santos fills her pantry with canned goods as hurricane warnings target South Florida. Vegetables, beans, soups, fruits, enough nutrition to sustain her family for weeks without refrigeration. She reads BPA-free labels and feels reassured about her choices. She doesn't know that 40% of canned foods still contain BPA, and the replacements are often more dangerous. Canned food represents survival nutrition perfection. Long shelf life, complete meals, no refrigeration required. But those convenient metal containers conceal endocrine-disrupting chemicals that become more dangerous the longer crisis lasts. Bisphenol A lines 75% of American food cans, creating the largest single source of hormone disruption in crisis diets. BPA becomes a crisis killer by mimicking natural hormones and triggering biological chaos when your body needs maximum stability. During extended emergencies, when families depend heavily on canned foods, BPA exposure increases 5-fold over normal consumption. The chemical accumulates in fatty tissue and disrupts thyroid function, immune response, and reproductive systems. Heat accelerates the poisoning process. When you warm canned foods over camp stoves or open flames during power outages, high temperatures increase BPA migration from can linings into food by up to 800%. Every hot meal becomes a hormone-disrupting event that undermines your body's crisis response systems. The BPA-free labels create lethal false security. Manufacturers replaced BPA with structurally identical chemicals including BPS, BPF, and TMBPF that cause identical or worse hormonal disruption. Recent testing reveals these substitutes are often more potent endocrine disruptors than original BPA. Crisis scenarios amplify BPA's destructive effects. Stress hormones surge during emergencies, and BPA interferes with your body's stress response mechanisms. This creates toxic feedback loops where chemical exposure worsens your ability to handle crisis stress. Professional emergency medical teams avoid canned foods during extended operations specifically to prevent endocrine disruption in vulnerable populations. Smart crisis nutrition means choosing glass containers, frozen foods, and dried goods over metal cans. Here's what emergency physicians know. During crisis, every toxin becomes amplified. Number 3. Plastic water bottles for emergency storage. James Rodriguez fills his garage with cases of bottled water as earthquake warnings shake Los Angeles. 40 cases, 24 bottles each. enough clean water for his family to survive 2 weeks without municipal supply. He's following emergency preparedness protocol perfectly. He's actually stockpiling hormone disruptors and microplastics that will poison his family when they need pure hydration most. Emergency water storage represents crisis preparation fundamentals, but plastic bottles deliver more than water. Breakthrough research using advanced imaging technology detected an average of 240,000 nanoplastic and microplastic particles per liter of bottled water. That's 4,800 times higher than previous estimates. These microscopic plastic fragments aren't theoretical threats. Microplastics now appear in human blood, breast milk, lung tissue, and brain matter. When crisis forces families to depend on stored water for extended periods, plastic particles accumulate in vital organs. Children absorb these toxins faster because they consume more water per body weight. The bottles themselves leach hormone-disrupting chemicals including BPA, phthalates, and antimony directly into stored water. Heat accelerates this chemical migration exponentially. Water stored in hot garages, car trunks, or unventilated emergency caches reaches temperatures that cause massive toxin transfer from plastic containers into drinking water. When municipal water systems fail and bottled water becomes your only hydration source, you're forced to consume concentrated plastic chemicals exactly when your body faces maximum stress. Emergency situations expose families to additional toxins that overwhelm liver detoxification systems. Recent testing revealed that plastic bottles stored in warm conditions release antimony at levels exceeding international safety standards. Antimony poisoning causes nausea, vomiting, and severe diarrhea, symptoms that mimic foodborne illness during crisis scenarios. Professional disaster response eliminated plastic water storage after discovering the health risks outweigh the convenience benefits. Military hydration systems use stainless steel containers and field purification systems that provide clean water without introducing plastic chemicals. Here's the stark reality. The water you stockpile to preserve life could be slowly ending. Number 2, bleach-based cleaners and ammonia products. Patricia Wong reaches for bleach as flood waters recede from her Houston home. Black mold spreads across her walls like infection, and she needs industrial-strength cleaning power. 20 minutes later, she grabs ammonia to tackle stubborn stains the bleach couldn't eliminate. She's about to create chloramine gas, the same lung-destroying chemical weapon that killed thousands in World War I trenches. Never mix bleach with anything. This isn't cleaning advice, it's chemical warfare prevention. When crisis strikes and safety protocols collapse, desperate families create lethal gas combinations that kill in minutes. The chemistry is brutally simple. Sodium hypochlorite plus ammonia equals chloramine gas, a respiratory destroyer that causes immediate lung tissue death. Bleach alone transforms into crisis poison when emergency sealing traps chlorine gas indoors. Sodium hypochlorite releases chlorine vapor that concentrates in unventilated spaces, creating toxic atmospheres that burn lung tissue on contact. During power outages, when ventilation systems fail, routine cleaning becomes hazardous material exposure. Emergency room data reveals the crisis pattern. Chemical poisoning incidents increase 400% during natural disasters. Families trapped in damaged homes use stronger chemicals to fight contamination and mold. Without proper ventilation, these chemicals accumulate to industrial exposure levels. The killing mechanism is anatomically precise. Chlorine gas is heavier than air, so it settles in basements and low areas where families often shelter during storms. Children breathe closer to floor level, absorbing higher concentrations of toxic vapor. The gas burns throat and lung tissue on contact, causing fluid buildup that literally drowns victims in their own bodily secretions. Ammonia products carry their own invisible death sentence. Concentrated ammonia vapors cause immediate respiratory failure and can trigger fatal asthma attacks. When families crowd into sealed safe rooms during emergencies, ammonia exposure becomes mass poisoning. Professional disaster cleanup never uses bleach or ammonia during emergency restoration. Commercial teams rely on hydrogen peroxide that breaks down into harmless water and oxygen. Here's the fundamental truth. During crisis, every chemical becomes concentrated in your sealed environment. Number 1. Non-stick cookware. Amanda Parker scrambles eggs in her favorite non-stick pan as Texas power grids collapse around her. The gas still works, so breakfast feels normal while chaos erupts outside. She doesn't realize that every scratch on that sleek black surface has been releasing forever chemicals into her family's food for months. Chemicals that will contaminate their bodies for decades and never break down. PFAS, per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, earn the name forever chemicals because they persist in human bodies and environmental systems indefinitely. When you cook with scratch non-stick pans, these chemicals migrate directly into food and bloodstream. Recent Ecology Center testing found 79% of non-stick cookware contains PTFE. When emergency stress forces families to cook more meals at home with limited equipment, scratched non-stick surfaces release exponentially higher concentrations of PFAS particles. Consumer Reports laboratory testing revealed that damaged coatings can emit 60,000 nanoplastic particles per minute during cooking. These microscopic fragments carry PFAS directly into your circulatory system, where they accumulate in liver tissue and remain permanently. The health destruction is systematic and irreversible. PFAS exposure triggers liver disease, suppresses immune function, causes kidney cancer, and disrupts thyroid regulation. When your immune system faces maximum stress during emergencies, PFAS sabotages the exact biological responses you need most. Children with PFAS exposure show 43% reduced effectiveness to vaccines, meaning even if medical help arrives, their poisoned bodies can't respond to treatments. Professional chefs eliminated non-stick cookware years ago after discovering the health risks outweigh convenience benefits. They rely on stainless steel, cast iron, and carbon steel, materials that improve with use and never release chemicals into food. Here's what emergency health specialists understand. Crisis amplifies every existing vulnerability. Forever chemicals create permanent damage that begins in your kitchen. Now that you know which everyday products can quietly turn into dangers during a crisis, let's shift gears. Because survival isn't just about avoiding the wrong things. It's about knowing the two simple, overlooked essentials that can actually keep your family safe when everything else fails. Number 2, white vinegar. Sarah Williams stares at empty store shelves where cleaning products used to be displayed. Hurricane Laura approaches Louisiana in 12 hours, and panic buying has stripped every disinfectant from grocery aisles. She grabs 2 gallons of white vinegar instead, the most powerful crisis tool that 95% of families completely overlook. White vinegar delivers more survival capability per dollar than expensive emergency equipment that sits unused until disaster strikes. This 5% acetic acid solution performs critical functions that keep families alive when sophisticated systems fail. At under $3 per gallon, vinegar provides antimicrobial power, food preservation, medical treatment, and cleaning capability in one simple liquid. The antimicrobial mechanism makes vinegar indispensable during crisis. Acetic acid kills bacteria, viruses, and fungi without creating toxic fumes or bacterial resistance. Unlike commercial disinfectants that breed superbugs, vinegar's acid-based killing mechanism prevents pathogens from developing resistance. International Journal of Food Microbiology research confirms vinegar eliminates E. coli, salmonella, and staphylococcus without leaving chemical residues that poison your family. When municipal water systems fail and you're depending on stored water, vinegar prevents bacterial growth and dissolves mineral deposits that clog containers. A tablespoon per gallon eliminates harmful bacteria while keeping water storage systems clean without introducing chemicals that make water unsafe to drink. Food preservation becomes critical when refrigeration fails and supply chains collapse. Vinegar's acid content creates hostile environments for dangerous bacteria while preserving essential nutrients indefinitely. Pickled vegetables provide vitamins and probiotics that boost immune function when your body faces maximum stress. Unlike commercial preservatives that require chemicals and refrigeration, vinegar preservation works in any climate without electricity. Professional emergency operations choose vinegar over commercial alternatives because it works in extreme conditions without creating toxic exposure. Military field kitchens rely on vinegar solutions for equipment sanitization because effectiveness doesn't depend on electrical systems. The storage advantages make vinegar perfect for long-term emergency preparedness. Unopened vinegar remains effective indefinitely when stored properly. Number 1, baking soda. Maria Santos empties her final box of baking soda into sealed containers as Hurricane Ida targets Louisiana. Her neighbors stockpile weapons and military rations while laughing at her old-fashioned preparation. 72 hours later, when their expensive gear fails and families fall sick, Maria's simple white powder keeps her household healthy, functioning, and alive. Baking soda represents the ultimate survival tool. More life-saving capability packed into 50 cents worth of powder than $1,000 emergency equipment. Sodium bicarbonate performs critical medical, cleaning, fire suppression, and food safety functions that maintain family survival when every other system collapses. Medical applications alone justify stockpiling massive quantities of baking soda. Emergency rooms use sodium bicarbonate to treat acid poisoning, drug overdoses, and metabolic crises. When medical help is days away during extended emergencies, baking soda becomes your family pharmacy. Heartburn, acid reflux, and stomach distress, common during stress eating and contaminated food consumption, respond immediately to baking soda solutions that neutralize excess stomach acid. The real power emerges during chemical emergencies that accompany natural disasters. Baking soda neutralizes acids that cause chemical burns when crisis mixing of household products creates dangerous exposures. Acid spills from car batteries, cleaning product accidents, or industrial contamination respond to baking soda paste that draws acid from skin tissue and prevents permanent damage. Fire suppression becomes critical when emergency services face overwhelming demand. Baking soda smothers grease fires that water spreads and makes worse. Unlike commercial fire extinguishers that require replacement and maintenance, baking soda provides unlimited fire suppression that works indefinitely. Professional kitchen managers depend on baking soda for grease fire control because it's always available and completely effective. Personal hygiene maintenance prevents medical emergencies when normal supplies disappear. Baking soda functions as toothpaste, preventing dental infections that become life-threatening when dentists aren't available. It neutralizes body odor, treats athlete's foot, and provides skincare that prevents infections in crowded crisis conditions. Storage couldn't be simpler or more economical. Baking soda lasts indefinitely in sealed containers, never spoils or degrades, and costs less than $10 for months of supply. The truth is simple. Survival isn't just about stockpiling gear. It's about knowing which everyday products could quietly turn against you, and which simple tools can save your life when everything else fails. Now that you've seen the 7 items to avoid and the 2 essentials to keep close, the next step is making sure you're prepared before the next blackout, flood, or wildfire strikes. If you found this eye-opening or learned something new, don't leave your safety to chance. Hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss the survival strategies that could protect your family when it matters most.